What's good, beautiful people? It's your girl, Ashley Janae. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today, I want to talk to you about trauma, as you can tell from the title, but more specifically, how to deal with that trauma. This topic has been coming up a lot for me in the past week or so. Just in my own spiritual time, I was guided to look at some of my childhood traumas and deal with those things. And I was having a conversation with one of my best friends a few days after that, and we were talking about how sometimes people can be traumatized by things that have happened in their lives and don't even recognize it as trauma because for some communities, certain things seem commonplace. And so we can be traumatized and walk around with the side effects of that trauma but never deal with it because we don't understand how it's impacting our lives. And then last night, I was having a conversation with one of my favorite cousins who's in the military, and some of the things that they were saying they were experiencing is absolutely PTSD, no doubt about it, from the flashbacks or wandering off, becoming violently scared, overwhelming anxiety, while in a completely safe place. So I really feel like it is important for me to make this video, not just for necessarily the survivors of trauma, because that's going to be most people, but also if you're someone that wants to help someone that is dealing with trauma, or if you need to recognize what trauma looks like for certain people. So a basic definition of trauma would be any impactful event that happened in your life that had an adverse side effect on you. So this type of event would be normally completely negative, aimed directly at you. So like sexual violence, abuse, whether it's mental or physical abuse, things like a medical procedure can be traumatic. But there are other things that do not directly get aimed at you that will still affect you in a traumatic way. Things like a natural disaster, if you lose your home, things like a divorce. A child can be traumatized from things like that. There are all different types of ways that we experience trauma. Now, specifically, one side effect that comes with trauma is PTSD. And sometimes we feel like PTSD is only for people that have experienced maybe war or maybe sexual assault. However, our brains are programmed to have flashbacks of any impactful event in our lives. So you can have a flashback of something positive, and you can have all the emotion, all the feeling. It can bring a smile to your face. Also, but in the same regard, when a negative event happens to you, in certain ways, it impacts the brain in a slightly different way. So it happens specifically with post-traumatic stress disorder. It's kind of like if you can think of an alarm clock, where you have an alarm clock that is set to go off at a certain time. Now you can hit the off button or you can hit the snooze button. If you hit that off button, the alarm clock will not go off again. What happens with post-traumatic stress is we're hitting the snooze button. Not intentionally, but that's what our brain is doing, to where certain things can become triggers, and instantly, when that alarm goes off, you're instantly back at the situation mentally. You're back at the situation as if it's happening to you in the present moment. So I want you to evaluate how your attitude shifts at different times with different triggers around different people. I want you to pay attention to if you're feeling overwhelmed or extreme anxiety. Are you ever feeling like jumpy or nervous when you really don't have a reason to? If someone touches you from behind, or when you're asleep, or if they walk up on you in whether it's a crowded place or a small gathering, does it make you fearful? Does it increase your heart rate and your fight or flight instincts automatically kick in? Now, it's nothing to be ashamed of. This is something that happens in the brain. And because of that, the best way to combat these types of instances is taking a control approach where we put ourselves in the driver's seat of our health and our healing. There are other ways that people choose to deal with PTSD. It could be to self-medicate, to get medication or drugs from a doctor and things like that, or to try to block it out. And none of those things are particularly healthy or permanent. So one thing, if you are someone who thinks that your loved one or friend or family member might be dealing with PTSD, I would say the most important thing for you to remember is not to force them to talk about the event. And a lot of times we think, oh, if you just talk about it and get it out, then that will be beneficial. And the reality is, revisiting a traumatic experience can often create more trauma. So you never want to force someone to talk about a situation that is particularly difficult to them, and be respectful of their situation to not talk about it, even if you don't feel like the situation was as extreme as maybe you believe it to be. Because we never know psychologically how certain events are going to impact us. So I wrote a few things down that I want you to carry with you. And if you can, go ahead, pause this video and get a piece of paper and a pen so you can write these things down. Or if you're on the computer, just take notes in your phone, because these are really important. And I know that they will help you if you're dealing with PTSD or any other type of extreme stress based on an incident that has happened to you in your life. Okay? So, number one, the very first thing that I want you to add into your daily routine when you get up and start your day is gratitude. Now, I know for some of us that might seem like, what? Like, I'm grateful. So what happens is, in the subconscious mind, you feel fear and or anxiety for a few reasons. And it's because your mind has been inundated with the traumatic event. And it is hard to hold on to any other information. So it keeps replaying those events. So gratitude and practicing gratitude is not because you're an ungrateful person. Practicing gratitude is one, because when you speak, you're speaking to your subconscious. You're putting those words right back into you. So when you speak or when you contemplate or meditate on specific things, specific words of affirmation or positivity, your brain will start to process those things. Now, this is a process. This is not something that you can do one time and it's over. So step number one, put gratitude into your daily routine. Now, that could mean when you get up, you just go somewhere. You can stay in your bed, go look in the mirror, whatever you choose to do, and say at least 5 things that you're grateful for, and say it out loud. If you're able to. I know that there might be situations where you don't want to interrupt the person next to you. Maybe just step into another room or just meditate on it if you have to, but practice gratefulness. You also can get a gratitude journal. That can help you also. Or there's another good idea where you can take something that you're grateful for, write it down, and then stick it into a jar and you keep it. And then every day you pull it out and you read each one. Now, I would say if you're going to do a gratitude jar, start out by writing 10 things that you're grateful for and put them in the jar. You don't want to just start with one. But just start off with gratitude in whatever way that you feel is comfortable for you. That's number one. The second thing that I want you to do is practice affirmations. And now this is not hokey. This is not weird, new agey. Please don't look at it like that. I want you to practice affirming yourself. No matter how confident we think we are, we have to remember that 90% of our actions, behaviors, and beliefs come from our subconscious mind. And in your subconscious mind is where the battle is. Your subconscious mind is telling you in one way or another that you're afraid, that you're unsafe, that the environment that you're in could harm you, that Possibly you're not loved. Possibly you're not worthy. All kinds of things are happening in your subconscious mind. Even if you're consciously thinking, okay, I'm fine, I know I'm at home, or I know no one can get me here, your subconscious mind is still dealing with the trauma. So when you speak affirmations, the affirmations will help to reprogram your subconscious mind. And that's what you want. I heard about an MIT study that said when a person hears something negative, let's say it's you're dumb, just one time, when they hear that negative word or phrase, it takes 17 times of hearing the opposite for the brain to register it. Once you take something in and you believe it, once you know in your brain that it's true, to undo that takes much more work. And it's not fair, but it's just the reality. So what I want you to do is practice affirmations. Now you can look up any that you want online. I have quite a few on my channel, so I will link those at the end of this video so you can just click on it and hear it. But after this, I'll make a affirmation video specific for people that are trying to overcome any type of traumas. So practicing affirmations, things that are positive in the present, whether you feel like it's true or not in the moment. Like if you feel like I'm not completely whole, you would still want to say, I am whole. Even if you don't feel like you're completely healed, I am healed. Your subconscious speaks this language. So it's not wishful thinking. It's not this grand hope that you just think will come true. It's learning the language of your subconscious mind. Okay? That's number 2. Number 3, I want you to clean your screens. What I mean by that is do not allow negative information, news, gossip into your space. You have to protect your mind as much as possible. So if there are things on your feed, on your timeline, your social media, your email, the news that you're watching that are putting anything that could create anxiety. So for some people that could be politics. For some people that can be scary movies. For some people that can be a fight video. For some people that can be any type of crime or gunshots, things like that. Whatever it is for you, clean your screens. And make sure you set time to just get away from screens altogether. You have to give your brain a break so it can come up with its own thoughts. And a lot of times we try to use that type of entertainment to get us away from our thoughts. But the reality is that type of entertainment and even reading books, depending on the type of book you read, allows your mind to wander. And that's what you don't want. We want to practice being present. And that's my next thing. Practice being present. Do not allow your mind to wander or just sit in a space where you're just thinking and the memories start to replay. It's a setup for disaster, especially in the very beginning, or if you know that you're still dealing with the hurt or the stress. So we want to practice being present in the moment. That means when you're sitting down to eat, maybe don't scroll on your phone. Maybe think about, what am I eating? This is delicious. This is crunchy. This is soft. This is cold. This is warm. Be present. Maybe even possibly have a conversation if there's a person near you or with you. But try to be as present in the moment as possible. Okay? The next thing I want you to do is look for positivity. Now, this can be a little bit hard. Not hard, challenging. And the reason why is because when we're in a certain place, we don't feel like being bothered with overly excited people sometimes or extremely happy people. Sometimes that can be frustrating or even annoying. But I challenge you to look for positivity in whatever way is comfortable for you. And the reason why is because laughter, joy, happiness, positive excitement, all those things release serotonin into the brain. Serotonin is what we call the happy drug or the happy chemical that is natural in our brain, and it is released during times of peace or bliss or excitement. So the more things that you put into your life that are positive, that can actually make you laugh or smile, the more you help your recovery along. And I know that that can be challenging, so take your time as you do it, but look for positivity, okay? Another really, really important thing that I've used in my life for years and really didn't even understand the effects of it until much later was taking pictures of not only the things you love, but take pictures of yourself, and now take videos of yourself doing things you like or with people you care about. Print them out and put them up. This is important because our brain works through pictures. I told you your brain has a certain language. Your brain also interprets information through images. If you see a red octagon on the street, it doesn't have to say the word stop on it for you to understand what that picture means. If you see yellow, your brain is anchored, and that means yield or slow down. And depending on the image, it could mean sunshine. But our brain is anchored based on images. So if you have an image in your mind of any type of traumatic experience, that's what's replaying in your mind. You don't see yourself in a happy place. You might see yourself scared or being harmed or in danger. So you need to put into your subconscious mind pictures, videos, sounds, and images of you in a happy place, of you in a safe place, of you being surrounded by people who care about you. So if you're out with your friends, or even if you're at home, take a picture. Say, hey, let's take a picture. Even if you're not a smiling person, force yourself to smile. You can do it. You just need one picture. Look at it. That's me. I'm smiling. I'm happy. Your brain registers smiling as happy. Even if you don't have to smile to be happy, your brain registers smiling, laughter with joy. So if you take pictures of yourself, if you make videos of yourself, put them up in places where you can see them. Put them in your bathroom, your bedroom, your kitchen, your living room. Put one up on your TV. Put one on the mirror. So when you look in the mirror, you're reminded. You see yourself happy. Put one beside your bed. Look at those videos every day. Post something maybe that's happy on your feed. If you know you're going to go on your feed and you look at it, that can be the first thing that you look at on your feed. A picture of you happy. It really makes a difference because remember, our subconscious mind works in pictures, images, okay? So self-care is the last thing that I want to talk about, and that's going to come a couple of different ways. One important self-care practice I really hope that you try to incorporate is doing sleep meditations. And the reason why this is important is because when your brain goes into delta, deep sleep, you're more able to record without any interruptions. So your brain is recording during your deep sleep, and you have a window of maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours. After your REM and you're in one sleep, your brain is going to go into a deep sleep cycle where it can record and download information. If you are listening to a sleep meditation where you're hearing affirmations that say you are protected, you are happy, you are strong, you are safe, you are in a brand new place, things of that nature, your subconscious mind will go to work and start replaying those messages. Now remember, like I said in the beginning, this is not a one-time thing. These are daily practices that you have to add into your routine, and you'll help take control of your healing process instead of waiting for it to pass. Don't block it out. Don't self-medicate. You can do this. So sleep meditations, really, really big. If you can incorporate that, I know some people, they can't really sleep with a lot of noise, but the reality is if you're like me and you're someone who's experienced severe trauma in your life, my main traumas all were in my childhood and teenage years, it was very hard to sleep anyway. So there are different ones, different sleep meditations you can listen to that are very relaxing, that will help you sleep. And I promise I have one for you. I already have started it, and it's coming. I'll put it up. By this weekend, it will be up. But if you incorporate a sleep meditation, it will help you so much with your subconscious brain, with your subconscious mind, without your conscious mind getting in the way. Another self-care practice that is surprisingly very, very helpful is muscle building. So not cardio and things like that. A lot of times we go running and our mind can get lost. That's not what we want. We want slow, deliberate motion. So if you're doing a deadlift where you have to concentrate, plant my feet, back straight, hold the bar like this, pull, count, breathe, let go. Your mind is present. You're focused in the moment. So even if you just do your thighs, your legs, your shoulders, you can do push-ups on the wall. Concentrate on your form. Concentrate on your breathing. Very, very important. Excellent self-care practice that will help you in your daily routine. And one more that I want to mention, this might be surprising for some, but take a salt bath. Now, I want you to get pure sea salt if you're going to do it. But you can get a whole bag of sea salt for a very cost-effective price. And take half the bag, literally, and dump it in water as warm as you can stand it, and take a salt bath. Salt is known to be very cleansing and clearing. That's why people use it for sinus infections and upset stomachs and things like that. Salt is very cleansing. And so the energy that surrounds us, literally the actual vibratory frequency that surrounds our major organs, lowers when we're dealing with trauma, especially when we're depressed or if we're hurt or angry, and that leads to sickness and illnesses and diseases. And so taking a salt bath is just one simple way that you can cleanse your body of some toxins, some negative energy, and maybe add some aromatherapy, essential oils, maybe some of your favorite music that you can sing along to, so you can be in a space where you're comforted and cleansed at the same time. Okay? Next thing I want to talk about, and I'm almost done, is dealing with flashbacks. Now, an important thing to remember, which is so extremely hard in the moment, is that you're now in a different place than then. And that is the trick of flashbacks, because remember, we're dealing with our subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind does not know the difference between the dream world and reality in most instances, because of how our brain works. And I'm not going to go too much into the psychology of it, but this is why visualization is so important. And that's even something that you can incorporate, visualizing yourself in a good place, in a safe place, because your brain doesn't know that that's real, that that's not real, that it's just a visualization. But when you're having a moment where you have a flashback, whether it's during the day or in the middle of the night while you're sleeping, first thing to do is ground yourself in your present. And I know that's easier said than done, because I am also someone that has had to deal with extreme nightmares after times of trauma. But one good technique would be, I've seen people use, is to get a rubber band. And when you put the rubber band on your wrist, you can just pop the rubber band. It helps your brain to snap back into reality, because sometimes we'll get stuck in the thought. So if you put a rubber band and just pop it, not enough to hurt yourself per se, but enough to wake your brain up so you know that you're here. And then what's really effective is if you can start doing what I call grouping. Find things in the room that are alike, or find things in the room that you can identify with your senses. What do I smell? Okay. What do I see? Where am I? What can I feel? What can I hear? Things like that. Or you can say, what's soft? My pillow, my blanket, my house shoes, my robe. Identify things that have the same color or the same shape. The door is white. The ceiling is white. That sweater is white. Whatever you can do, because when your mind is stuck in the past, you need to remind your subconscious brain that you're now in a different place. And when you take your mind immediately off of where you are and let your brain know we're present, we're here, it does help. Now, that's not a prevention method. This is while we're in it. Everything I told you before, that's to help with prevention as you go along and do it over and over and over. That is a prevention method. This is for in the moment. You want to ground yourself. That's number one. Number two is to breathe. And what I like to do, just in my everyday practice, it helps with blood circulation, how much oxygen is in your blood, and it just helps with your overall lymphatic system, is doing a fourfold method of breathing. That means you breathe in for 4 seconds. You hold for 4 seconds, and then you let it out for 4 seconds. And you repeat that at least 7 to 10 times. You do a fourfold breathing. And the reason why you do that, when our body is in fight or flight mode, that means the thinking part of our brain is shut off. And fight or flight mode means when the adrenals release into our body, all the blood is sent to our arms and legs. That's because we have to be ready to fight or run. And that's what happens when we're under extreme anxiety. There's no blood rushing to your brain. It's all rushing to your arms and your legs. So an important thing to remember, even if you're just feeling angry, if someone has made you upset, if you're feeling afraid, the first thing to do is reopen your mind. Get that blood circulating back to your brain. So you have to breathe. And it's important to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Your body is created that way because your nose is a natural filter against toxins, dirt, and other things that can harm you. And it stops so much air from going to your brain too quickly that you feel lightheaded. So you breathe in through your nose for a 4 count, hold it for a 4 count, release for a 4 count, hold again for 4 seconds, and then do it again. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Breathing is very helpful when you're having a nightmare, a flashback, or anything like that. It's very, very important. And the last thing that I want to mention, when you have a traumatic experience, again, do not force yourself to talk about it if you feel uncomfortable. But if there is someone that you trust, go ahead and ask if you can talk about it, and ask if they'll just listen. Give no feedback. And for those that are listening and someone wants to confide in you, don't give feedback. Because sometimes we try to say things and it could be the wrong thing and we don't realize it. Like, oh, it'll be okay, or everything happens for a reason. Those things are not helpful to a person that has experienced trauma. If anything, if you want to say anything, say, you're very strong for talking about this. Maybe something along those lines. If you've never been in their specific situation, don't ever say I understand, because you don't. So the last thing is talk to someone, or possibly write it down. If you are someone that does not feel comfortable talking about it, revisiting the experience, that is okay. However, your subconscious mind is trying to process it. And that's part of the reason why these memories keep coming up, because it's trying to process it. It doesn't completely understand, so it keeps popping up. So you have to deal with it, whether you want to or not, and it's not fair. So a good way to get it out would be to write it down. If you don't feel comfortable speaking on the situation, and you really don't have to be extremely detailed. You can just talk about the emotions that you felt during the event. Whatever it is that you need to get out, try and get it out. Release it, whether that means cry while you write or scream while you write. Whatever you have to do, get it out in a healthy way. And the second part of that, I would say, because our subconscious mind works with pictures, images, visualization, I would say destroy it. Look at it, read it. Tell yourself, this is not my present, this is not my reality. This is a part of my past. And then you can rip it up, look at it while you rip it up, watch it, go to shreds. You can burn it in a safe place. That means maybe outside in a metal trash can, if that's something that you want to do, but burn it in a safe manner, in a safe place where you cannot do harm to your damage, to your property, harm or damage to your property or others, but do it in a safe place. But it's just the same if you rip it up. If you want to pour something on it that will destroy it and then crumble it up, whatever you want to do after you've gotten it out, destroy it and allow your mind to see, this is my past. This is not where I am. I am here now. I am present. This is not a part of my present. This is not a part of my That's all I really have for you right now. I promise, going to put up the affirmation video, which will also double as a sleep meditation, and I'll be mindful of all the sounds that will be up by this weekend, the end of this weekend. So I really, really hope that this helps someone. I understand what it feels like to feel vulnerable or terrified or just overwhelmed with anxiety. And it's not a fun feeling. So I really hope that this helps. If you have any other ideas of how to deal with trauma effectively and in a healthy manner, let me know in the comments and I'll talk to you. We can have the conversation because you'll be surprised for some of the things I really have been there and I do understand. So I really hope this helps. Thank you again for watching. Share this with as many people that you know might be dealing with trauma. Or if you're dealing with trauma, share this with someone so they can know how to effectively recognize it and be a help, be a friend. Thanks so much for watching, family.